Well, it's a good day for a garden tour, don't you think? The sun is out. It's a little bit windy, so hopefully that's not going to affect things. I thought we'd start over here in the kitchen garden because the sun is still so high and so hot. Well, hot. The sun feels warm, but we're just not used to it. So I thought I would show you guys the kitchen garden. It is doing so good. I'm so excited. Here's our strawberry bed here, and then we have the other one behind it. And there are a couple of different types of strawberries in here, and they're doing so well. I'm really, really excited about those. And then, oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you a few of these things that are growing in here. These raised beds are just doing killer for their first season. I'm so excited. So in this bed right here, we have peas. The peas have taken a little bit of a hit because of all the rain we've gotten. So you'll see like the ends are a little bit curled. They don't look so bad today, but just yesterday, there was a little bit of this browning on there. That's kind of a bummer, but they'll be all right. They'll perk up. I did clear out some spinach in here, and these are some salad turnips and some mustard greens. We have kohlrabi in between. We've got, is there anything under here? I don't know, everything is growing so huge. No, I don't think so. So this is either turnips or rutabaga. I can't remember which one yet, but they'll take a little longer. I cleared out some more spinach in this area and planted some new beans with Maggie yesterday. And then we're just using the rest of the radishes in this row. This spinach here is unfortunately starting to bolt, which always happens. It is so cold. See, it's bolting. Bolting just means that it's gonna go to flower. So we're just eating up as much as we can. And then we're pulling it out. This year I am being a little bit vicious with it. You see this arugula too, because I want to go for major production, and I have plenty of spinach seeds saved. So this bed over here, you guys, I am so excited. My friend and I have been trying to grow these flowers. This is called Kiss Me Over the Garden Gate for, I don't know, 3 years now, 2 years at least. And I finally have flowers, and I think it's gonna do really good. Then I have some more radishes. These are the French breakfast radishes, and I told you guys I would let you know how my heirlooms Evermore seeds are doing, and they obviously are doing so good because these are amazing. We have some onions growing. We have some celery in there. These are a kind of bean, some fennel, and a whole bunch of carrots, and then we have peas along the back. This is the bowl spot, but I am really excited because these guys, I saw them pop out, so I may still get these beautiful dandelions. These are gonna be the white and pink variety, and then these should be the Black King pansies, so I'm super excited. We may get fall ones out of that. These are some heirloom Evermore seeds as well. These are beans, and these are the bull's blood beets. I just love the color on those. Some lettuce, some mustard greens and peas, some more kohlrabi. We're succession sowing everything, which just means we basically every 2 weeks we plant a new crop. This is the dragon stir fry mix from Baker Creek. Oh my goodness. It is not only absolutely delicious, but it is growing so good. I'm really excited about that. It's taken me a couple years to get a hold of it, but now that I have, yes, we love it. And even, you can even eat this part that's flowering, and it tastes great. This is some carrots. And then we have the Jerusalem artichokes that I got from the tomato lady in Hayden at the farmer's market. Some chives, and we have some runner beans growing right here. In this bed, I have more peas, a whole bunch of different kinds of lettuce. This is one of my favorites. This is called Tom Thumb, and it's so good. And then I think I have Paris Island growing in here. And then all the rest of this is beets. We're gonna be thinning these beets out and using them for salad greens, and then we'll let the other ones grow bigger. And then these are purple potted pole beans growing along there. And this little plant right here is So beautiful. It's one of my favorites. It's called Bloody Dock, or Dock. You can call it whatever you like, but it's so good. This last bed right here, we have beans, and you can tell by looking at them, their coloring is a little bit off. Some of them back here, you can see they've got some brown on the leaves. Unfortunately, they have not been very happy. We've had so much rain. It's been really crazy. We do usually get a rainy kind of June, but we don't usually get a like crazy rainy June, like torrential downpours. And that is what we've had all spring so far, or at least the last couple weeks. It's caused some major flooding in the Northwest here. And yeah, so I'm fortunate. Here we have only had like some puddle flooding, but our soil drains really quick, so it's not been a huge issue, but these beans definitely haven't liked it. And last night, I can't even believe it, and I'm gonna tell you, we were so close. We almost had a frost. So they got a little bit hit. They weren't really happy, but they're young enough that they'll perk up and be just fine. We also have some kohlrabi and some Swiss chard growing in here, and some kale, and I'm really, really excited about that. So this is kind of what's going on in our kitchen garden. I'm going to take you through part of the food forest here. This is our yastaberry. I've showed you this before, and it's growing really good. It's got a little bit of fruit on here. You see that guy there? This one. It doesn't have as much fruit on it as I was hoping, because it always gets aphids. I'm not really sure why that happens, but it again got aphids. Like this poor plum tree, our plums always get aphids. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. And then this thing I want to show you right here is really fun. This is one of Maggie's very favorite things. This is Honeyberry Hill, and they're really, really tart. Let's see here, I'll pick one. You gotta pick them when they're blue. They're good. Whew. They're really sour, especially if they're not really blue. Maggie, they're her favorite.
Mom, if you pick and I hold the bowl.
Yeah. If you're in a really cold growing zone, I highly recommend growing the honeyberries and just learning to love them, because their blooms can take 20-degree temperatures, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, crazy. Here is one of my favorite apple trees. It's growing so good. This is probably 3 years old right here. And it was next to my favorite hazelnut, which sadly didn't make it. And here's another view of Honeyberry Hill. Here's Mom. Say hi, Mom.
Hello.
She's helping weeding and doing things today. Here's the blueberry that's looking pretty good, and another jostaberry back there. So that's kind of a look at our kitchen garden. It is growing so good this year. I'm really excited about it. So let's go in the greenhouse for a minute, and I'll show you what we have going on in here. So the greenhouse is sort of in a transition period. It is looking so good. Titus would like to say hi. That's our rooster. We have lots of things still in pots because we are testing out growing things and seeing how big I can get them and if I can keep them growing in this unheated greenhouse. Bed number 1 here has a couple of cayenne peppers in the front. The big tall red plant you see there is called red oric, and it's amazing in spinach, sort of like spinach. You can cook it and you can use it as salad greens, which we really love. So I have a whole bunch of gladiolas in this first bed, and I cannot wait for them to bloom. They're going to be so pretty. In the back, we are testing out growing different squash and pumpkins. I think actually they might all be pumpkins back here. And then I do have some garlic, which looks like the first leaves are starting to die down. So we'll probably be harvesting this really soon. That was planted last fall. And it's a soft neck garlic, so there's no scapes on it or anything. And normally we can't grow that here in the Northwest. We usually have to grow the hardneck kind, but since it was in my greenhouse and it was growing in the house, I thought I would test it, and it worked. So let's see, what else do I have? A giant horseradish back there. The rooster is determined to get his way into this video. I do still have a few herbs, a few currants and gooseberries, and some leftover peppers and tomatoes back over there that I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with them. If you're local to me and you want pepper and a couple of tomato plants, let me know. Leave in the comments. Connect with me. Happy to share. I have another sowing of the dragon stir fry mix right here. I am really excited about that. So this one looks like it grew, there's like 50 different vegetables or something in that dragon stir fry mix, and it tastes really great. I'm excited about that. We don't really like cooked greens, but in the stir fry we just used it in place of cabbage, and it just turned out so good. Here's the blueberry I got from the tomato lady. I do need to put it in the ground, but it's growing so good, and it has blueberries on it. I'm afraid to plant it because I want the kids to get those. And I'm really excited. Back over here, sort of along the wall there, you can see I have a grape growing. That makes me happy. And this big plant here is some dill. It smells so good. So we have dill that self-sows pretty much everywhere on the farm at this point because I let it just go to seed in the gardens, and that makes me happy. This bed, I have a row of beans. We are letting we have a few peppers in there too. I am trying to let the greenhouse rest. Normally it just grows tomatoes and peppers, but the tomatoes don't do very well because we have the back north wall covered. And so the tomatoes grow really tall. In fact, they grow all the way up to the ceiling, which is probably, I don't know, more than 10 feet. And they only just grow green, and they never ever get stressed enough to grow fruit. So they just keep growing and huge and then never fruit. So this house does grow amazing peppers, however, and that makes me really happy, but it's good to practice crop rotation. So we're doing cucumbers, pumpkins, some greens, and just a handful of peppers where they didn't grow last year. Okay, you guys, let's go into the wild jungle here. So right inside the gate, we have a whole bunch of valerian and comfrey blooming. So I let the comfrey go to flower because the bumblebees absolutely love it. The valerian smells amazing. So the whole garden right now just smells incredible. And then here very soon, before these go to seed, I will cut them down because I don't want that many comfrey babies throughout the garden. So they're kind of edging here, and this vine you see, which is totally wild, it grows like 20 inches a day or 20 up to 26 inches a day. That is hops. So we have more growing. We have a lot more growing over here as well. Valerian pretty much self-sows throughout my garden freely. A lot of this is wild and a little bit overgrown, and I'm working on getting it back. Back over there, those pink flowers, those are a type of poppy, and they're so pretty. I love them. This area right here is pretty much the herb flower garden. The big tree back here behind me, that's a serviceberry, and I leave it in for wildlife. We do a lot of wildlife gardening. In the path here that leads sort of up to this pond area, that is spearmint growing, and I let it grow in the paths, and we walk on it because then when we walk through here, it smells really good. It smells like spearmint. I do have lots of columbine, black-eyed Susans, alpine strawberries, just all kinds of things just sort of scattered amongst the beds here. This used to look a lot better in here until the voles came in, and then the creeping grass kind of went through their tunnels, and now it's pretty much everywhere. So I've been working really hard on taking back the garden this year. Last year we took a break, so it got a little bit extra crazy, but I don't care. It's like a wild jungle, and you just have to discover what's growing in here at any given point. This is some of my favorite. This is columbine. I have just different colors and varieties throughout here. I do have a giant sage bush back there. You can't really see it very well. And something knocked my bird bath off, so I need to pick that back up. But yeah, we have some rhubarb and lots of irises throughout here. I do have lavender, which is sort of hidden. And then this bed I have more rhubarb. We have probably at least 20 rhubarb plants throughout the food forest and the garden area. Really the garden, the food forest, that's very interchangeable for me. I have lots of hyssop. This is mother of thyme, this big plant right here. I have a rose that is supposed to be climbing up these poles, but it dies back every year. It was supposed to be hardy, and it's not really hardy. Behind me here I have asparagus and strawberries growing together, and I'm excited. This strawberry bed, we had to like redo it, and I dug it all out and wood chipped it really heavy so that we could just get rid of some diseased plants, and it worked really well. So this year we should get a really good crop. So this path right here, I've been working on sort of taking it back from the wildness, and last year I put down a ton of cardboard and deep wood chips, which I'll have to do again, but it does look much better. You can see that there's a bench in here now. So this is one of our favorite places to hang out. It stays pretty shady in here. I think I'll take you across the bridge now and show you what we've got going on in the main part of the vegetables. So you can kind of see behind me, we have a heat sink right here on this side, and that's for wildlife, snakes and little skinks and things. We don't have any poisonous snakes here in North Idaho, just garter snakes and rubber boas, and I try to attract them. The cats do keep them a little bit at bay from the garden now because they patrol it, so it's sort of like, what can we do? This will be a pond at some point. I am gonna have to order a liner for it, and I would like it to hold water, but it doesn't currently hold water, so that is again something else that will be, it's a future project that has been there since we moved in. This was one of my favorite places right here by the pond. We have the other pond on the other side, so you can still hear it. But I dug out some of these lilac starts a couple years ago, and I don't know, this just gets overrun. This dang creeping grass, I think it's a fescue. It's just a pain. Ooh, there's a bee. A pain in the neck to deal with. We've got some blueberries in here, which are blooming. I'm so excited. So I don't want to mess with them too much because they are setting fruit, so that's awesome. And then I do have a row of them that are, it's in the grass. They're there. I know where they're at. And I do have some thistles I need to pull out because we really don't want the thistles in there. This I'm so excited about. This has taken a ton of work, but we have gotten it to the point where we can plant in it again. Like I said, we did take a little bit of a break last year, especially in this main garden, in order to put a stop to the voles, put a stop to the creeping grass. And the way we're doing that is we're using hardscaping. Hardscaping is really the only way that I have found that's really gonna work. Daffodils are another thing, and also the really small, like 1/4 inch pea gravel are supposed to work as well, but I don't know. I would rather just hardscape them out at this point because I'm tired of losing hard work to them, and I'm tired of having to come back in and go through stuff. So this I'm pretty excited with. This is an herb bed, so I have lots of different herbs growing in here. Lemon balm, hyssop, valerian, peppermint, and St. John's wort. I just have tons yarrow. I do have some thyme and some horehound that are growing down here as well. You can see those. So this is the thyme, and then this is the horehound in here. And then I had to show you, this is supposed to be, back here, this is supposed to be a cut flower garden. However, the voles really love it. The peonies are doing great, which I love. Those are my favorites. And these irises are doing really good, but almost everything else I've put in here is not doing so good because they keep eating it. I'm supposed to have a whole row of phlox in there, and every year the voles get them, so I don't know. So this is my raspberry patch, which I love it. It makes me so happy. It makes the kids really happy. It's a little shorter this year for some reason. I'm not really sure why that is, but I think it is still going to bear really well. Thank you, Titus. The chickens run along the raspberry patch. They're my compost system, so they like it in here just as much as I do. And anyway, these are doing really good. I think we're getting a lot of new growth and new canes coming up through here. We mulched it really heavy a couple years ago, and I think that's gonna help. I have a spider web down my arm right now. But look at this beautiful peony. Oh, it's just my favorite. It smells so good. I can't wait for this whole bed to just be filled with them. I think I could probably just have a nice peony farm and I'd be so happy. So back over here, I'm gonna take you. This bed's not planted yet. It's gonna be planted. I wanted to get it planted this week, it just didn't happen. But we're gonna plant vegetables in there. This we're working on weeding for the first time. Well, like the really major weed. This is all veggies and it's all planted. Things are just starting to come up. This is an amazing cut flower bed, all annuals, self-sowing annuals, and it's doing really good. I'm pretty happy with it. And I've gotten about half of it weeded, so I still have, it's just very time consuming because it's like teeny tiny flowers that I want to keep and then a whole bunch of plants I don't want to keep. Back here I have a row of currants and they are all setting fruit, which is exciting, and something I'm so excited to show you guys. We moved this elderberry. If you didn't catch that video, I'll post a link for it up here. My mom and I moved this elderberry. It was a beast, but this, for the first time, is going to fruit, and I was so excited. We did plant some wine cap mushrooms underneath it, and I don't see any yet. I do see a mushroom, but I don't think it's a wine cap, so I'm gonna wait and see. We did lose a ton of fruit trees. I am actually going to reach out to Burnt Ridge Nursery where I got all of last year's trees because not a single one of them lived. I thought maybe it was just going to be the ones that I moved halfway through the summer in an emergency pig scenario, but it wasn't. It was all of them. So I don't know what happened. I'm not sure why. They were all planted with mulch. They were all planted with water, and I'm just going to reach out to them and see what they have to say. So I'll let you guys know what happens with that. The fruit trees that did make it that are quite a lot older, like this Ashmead's kernel one right here is doing so good, and I know it looks so small, but our season is so short here. It takes forever for things to grow. Our onions that we planted with you guys are doing just killer. I'm so excited. This whole bed right here, this entire thing is all onions. If you didn't catch on the video of how to plant that, I'll leave a link up here for you guys so you can catch that video. I do have a few other fruit trees like right here that are growing, and a couple back there. And they're growing. They're doing really good. This is all area of the food forest that we're gonna have to take back. It does have very deep mulch, but we're gonna have to add more, I think. So we've been planting, this is a black currant right here, and then I have a white currant right here. And I planted a ring of strawberries around each one of those, and the strawberries are setting fruit and they're doing really good. I normally would pick off the flowers of the first time I plant, but these ones were young plants that I had pulled from somebody else's bed and thinned, and they've done really good. They've done fine. I think because of the amount of water, they didn't really need that to happen. This elderberry is one of the ones that I featured in the video when we moved the other elderberry, and I'm not sure if it's gonna flower this year. It looks like it might, but I'm pretty excited just to have it. This is another look at my raspberry bed. I think the raspberry bed is about 35 feet long or so. It's pretty big. I have a apple tree here. That's a crab apple. Some oregano planted in here, and I'm not going to take you through this entire area because more things are dead than alive, but I had to show you this comfrey that is almost as tall as me. So the rows right here And there's some more way over there. This is all potato. They're about ready to be hilled up for the first time, and I will probably be hauling straw and mulch this week, probably in the mornings, because it has gotten warm, and it's just our temperatures, they're a little crazy. Like, we have gone from having 45-degree days, like during the day, that's the high, this week, and tons of rain, tons of cold. It almost frosted this morning. It came very close. All the way up, now we're supposed to be up in the mid to high 80s, and we have a very hot, dry heat here, and it's really, I think that's what sets North Idaho people and people who live in the Northwest apart from the rest of the world, is that we're very adaptable. Our temperatures can fluctuate 40 degrees within a couple of days, and we just have to go with it. So it is one of the things that makes gardening up here so difficult, because plants don't really like that. They don't really like the fluctuation of the temperatures. They like even like cucumbers, for example, like 80 degrees basically for their whole growing season. Yeah, it's just a challenge. That's one of the reasons why spinach is bolting, is because all of a sudden it's going from being very cold to suddenly hot, and just part of it. You can do it. You can grow. You can beat the weather. It's okay. I've got some more of my rhubarb back here. The reason I have so many rhubarb and comfrey plants is because I use both rhubarb and comfrey to feed my fruit trees and build my soil. I use them as chop and drop mulch, which basically just means you just chop it down and drop it where it's at. Here's one of the fruit trees that we lost. I thought this guy was going to be fine. This is an older one. Here's another one. Like, they're just not doing very well out here. And I'm wondering, I don't actually do soil testing. I just watch the plants and see how they're doing. I think that this row back here is just too acidic. There's several things that lead me to believe that, but I think that that's what's going on. They have been flourishing until this year. Last year was also very brutal for heat. So this guy, though, is doing so good. And the one behind me, they make me happy. You got to take what you can get, right? This right here is a pear tree. It flowered this year. It's actually been flowering for a few years, but I don't have a flowering mate for it because they all died. So we have yet to get any pears off of it. This is the golden delicious raspberry, and we will get some fruit off of it for sure this year. I hope that all the things we're doing is going to make this give us fruit every single year. I'm just not sure. It's the fall bearing fruit has a really hard time because our season is so short right here in this area. But fingers crossed, it'll be fine. And this, my beautiful potato patch, I'm so excited. I purposefully waited to put this straw down after this video because I just wanted you to see how amazing my soil looks. I'm so happy. That is not by accident. That is 6 years of really hard work, a ton of effort, not walking on the beds, and just building good soil, and that's my reward. This bed right here is a little crazy. We have not gotten it back to order yet, and we have not started working on these gravel paths yet either. We will. We're getting there. This is kind of the kids' area right here. They have some potatoes in there. I need to work with them a little bit more. We've just had so much rain. We're just trying to keep up at this point. I have more comfrey here. Actually, I have lots of comfrey. Ooh, lost the path. Comfrey's taken over the path right here. Here's some rhubarb, which I desperately need to pull all of these off. We do not want it to go to seed. And obviously I have plenty to harvest. I'll be canning more rhubarb this week. And then this absolutely amazing apple tree. We planted that together when we did the raspberries. I'll link that video up here for you guys in the iCards. It makes me so happy. I have some bleeding heart in here and a comfrey, and there was supposed to be this entire bed filled with strawberries, which I can see one alive, but for whatever reason, even though we did our best to make this an amazing bed and kept it weeded last year, I don't know if it was the heat, I'm not really sure what happened, lack of water, like rainfall, I don't know if that was why, but this whole bed basically died out. So over here, I have a Nanking cherry and a couple of different types of currants. I think I have a red, a white, and a black over here. And I have another Nanking cherry over there, and I'm not sure why one lived and one died this last year. But this one right here bloomed this year, and that one over there has to regrow. So I'm not really sure what happened with that. I may end up moving it, taking this opportunity to move it, because I realized I planted those backwards. I should have planted the Nanking cherry at the back and the currants at the front. So I might just kind of stagger it a little bit, make it look a little bit better. I do have a different kind of raspberry along the edge there, and that is I think the Caroline or Carolina, one of those. It's a fall bearing raspberry as well, and it just never has enough time to make fruit. So I'm going to try to take a couple starts from it and put it somewhere where it's very protected and the season grows a little bit longer, and see if I can't make it give us some fruit. And if not, the rest of it's going to get ripped out and we're going to replace it with something that will produce. Thank you for joining me on a walk through my a little bit crazy, a little bit wild garden. I have one last space to show you, so we'll exit the way we came in. There are lots of herbs and lots of things that we definitely didn't have time to go through today. Maybe we can do an herb tour. My kids are playing. We're excited to go for me to finish this video so we can take our puppy for a walk. Thought I would show you the last part, which is my summer garden. It's a little bit sad because it's not been very summery. So we have peas growing along there, tomatoes growing along the next petal panel. I have some different beans planted on the third one. And then I have onions planted. And then the only thing that's truly happy, hi puppy, she's ready for a walk. I can't see you. No, off. She took me out this week. She ran through my legs and knocked me flat on my back. It was very exciting. Anyway, the only thing that's really happy is the cabbages and broccoli and cauliflower and stuff. It's pretty happy in here. Doing good. I transplanted a few new ones because some of them got killed from how hard it was raining. And this was my squash experiment, and I think almost all of them are dead. And I have the peppers in here, and the cats unfortunately have been digging. So some of them look like they are perking up a little bit. Most of them are gone. I may end up transplanting a few more out, but I don't know if they'll have time to actually fruit in the hoop house, so we'll see. But that's kind of an update on here. It's okay. We have plenty of time. These cabbages are making me very happy though. So thank you guys for joining me. If you haven't started your own garden, I encourage you to do that. Get it going. If you don't know where to start, you don't have to have this much garden space. Like, we didn't start with this much garden space. We started right there. Actually, I started a lot of years before that, but here on this property, I started over in that corner, and that's all that we had. If you can't even take on, or you don't even have this much space, it's not a problem. Just get a few pots on a balcony and you can get going. Start by growing the things that you like to eat, and then eat the things that you grow, because you put a lot of work and time and effort into it. If you're in my area and you've had trouble with flooding, I'm really sorry. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that the floods are subsiding, and I hope you enjoy this sunny weather we're supposed to be getting this week. I will see you guys in another video again real soon. Thanks for hanging out with me today.